Rocky Romero, and I'm showing up as an investor for the last 30 years, also a consultant and as many years, as well as coaching businesses for the last 15 years. I started a mentoring program that we call Peers on Demand about 5 years ago. And certainly the question I ask for myself is, what can I gain or glean or adapt from what? The key here, the big key here is, what is the biggest problems that the clients are having? That's it. That's all you have to know. That's all you have to figure out. And they all have a commonality and they all have differences. So it's a lot easier to start with commonality because the individual differences may be because of country, language, customs, culture, all kinds of different things. But what is it that, and if you're working with companies, I'm working with businesses, and there's different sizes of businesses, but quite frankly, whether they're small, medium, or large, they all have a commonality. So what is in common? What is the biggest problem that businesses are facing today? The internet, you could search the company out, you could search the individuals, you could go on LinkedIn. You have so many tools that, in my mind, before you step in, either physically or virtually, you know a lot about the company. And based on what you read and what you see, my question is this: what is their biggest problem? What is their biggest challenge? What is the things that they're struggling with? Is that most companies are out of alignment most of the time. Let's take the 80-20 rule. I'm a fan of 80-20. So if we take the 80-20 rule, the 80-20 rule says 80% of the companies are out of alignment. Only 20% are doing really well. Let's just go with that rule. The Apples, the Googles, the Facebooks, those trillion-dollar, they're doing really well financially. They have some different things going on. So does that mean the other 80% are not doing as good? Are they out of alignment? I'm thinking that might be true. In fact, I'm thinking that most companies are out of alignment that most of the time, because the more complex you have, the more out of alignment you might be. I'm out of alignment as a person. I can tell you day to day that I'm out of alignment where I want to be, where I should go. So if I'm one person, let's take a team, the 6 of us here and 7 of us, all of a sudden, are we heading in the right direction? We're sort of alignment. We're in the same team, but we don't have a goal, an objective, and a direction, and somebody left. So we're not totally in alignment. Now multiply that to thousands of employees. All of a sudden, we have a lot of hierarchy. So I'm thinking, complexity brings misalignment. So how do you get into alignment? And I'm starting to think more and more that it has to do with focusing on getting into a flow state. And what is a flow state? A flow state is the optimal level of, we think of it as an athlete. That's how I thought about it as an athlete. Now we're transitioning that to a business. So how does a business get into a flow state? Now, an athlete like the Michael Jordans, the ones that really achieved really well, they got into flow state through a particular session. Some of you might have been with the speaker last week that talked about the high performance, high achievers. It's that aspect, but she didn't give us the formula. What is the formula to become a high achiever, high performance in the zone? That's the journey that I'm in, and I'm finding out that there is a formula. If I put in enough time, if I put in the same, what I call signals in my life, then I could probably be in a flow state at a particular time. I can't do it 100% of the time, but I can be in a flow state. And what I'm finding out is that if you get in the flow state, you can perform 4 to 5 to 7 times more results than without being in a flow. 4 to 5 to 700% more. So what that means is if you're in a flow state, just 2 hours a day, you've done as much as you can for the rest of the day, 5 times as much. So that's one person. So what about a team? And I worked with one of my clients that in coaching, helping her get into a flow state with her team and being able to take a very difficult situation where they were misaligned, mediocre products, people were just disagreement. And it took a year, but they got into a coordinated area of a flow state. And now they're able to achieve, now they're becoming an example for the organization. So if you could do that with an individual, you could do that with a team. How do you get it for the entire organization? How do you get it all into alignment? And I'm starting to think more and more that it's the things that you and I as coaches are familiar with. We're familiar with that. And I'm thinking more and more that more so than consulting, and I come from a consulting background, more so than investing, more so than mentoring, coaching seems to be the very essence of what organizations need to get back into alignment. So that, hopefully that answer, it's very broad, Malcolm, because I'm still discovering. And the second question is, so if you understand what the problems are, they're out of alignment, and it can be very many things. They don't have enough clients, they don't have enough revenue, they have external problem situations. So there's different things that gets them in and out of alignment. But the thing that we can understand is how do you get them back into that? Because challenges are always going to happen. But if you can have a cohesive team that communicates well, that has a great purpose, has the environment, asks questions, is collaborative. There's 21 signals that I've uncovered, and all of them are very much coaching aspects, if I mentioned and went through all of those. So I'm starting to understand the value of coaching within our organization to be able to get businesses in alignment, teams in alignment, and even individuals in alignment. So they have three components. Time goes fast. It's timeless. It's almost that flow state. It's like getting into a situation. Think of, if you would, for yourself, if you ever got into a flow state. The second thing is that it's effortless. It's easy. It seems easy. Like the Michael Jordans or those people that do something, they do so easily. How do they do that? Were they born that way? They're magic. And the third thing is what's called selfless. Now, selfless means, it's a little different definition, but it means getting your inner critic out of the way so that when you're in that zone, that flow state, your inner critic it doesn't exist. You can take the chances because it takes chances and risks to be able to make that leap, whatever that leap is. So you're selfless. You're totally present, selfless, with nothing to hold you back. Time goes fast, and it's so easy and effortless. That's the definition of flow.